Yes. Yes,
We're live.
Yeah.
I love it. I love how random and awkward it is.
It's funny, hey?
Hello, Facebook.
Apparently, I have
It's,
poor connectability, so we'll see how we go.
I can see you loud and clear on my iPhone here. You're
Great.
coming through beautifully,
Great.
so you're good. Yeah. So awkward coming on. Hi, Helen Pocock. Thanks for joining us. It's nice seeing some notifications come through. Um, we're going to attempt a double episode today if we can because Christmas is coming up and we won't be able to come on. Oh, we probably could, but I don't think we'll be coming on Wednesday, the 30th of December.
No.
So let's see if we smash out two. Shall we get into it? We've got lots of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, mate. Let's do it.
Right. Well, you let me know. I'm going to hit record, but just as mentioned, if you can hit record as well,
Yeah.
that'll be great. Tell me when.
Well, I think this records anyway from an Ecamm perspective. So, because this is how I upload to YouTube.
Oh, yeah, perfect. All right, cool. All right, here we go then. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated. Here we go again. 3, 2. Hold on a minute. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you for, I think, episode 403. Can you believe it? I'm telling you, it is almost Christmas, and gee whiz, what an incredible person we have to join us today. We've never had him on the show before because he normally lives on the other side of the planet. I speak of none other than the Father Christmas of wellness, the Santa Claus himself. Give it up for Saint Nick of wellness and nutrition, Dr. Damien Christoph. Hello, legend.
Oh, jeepers. There's some serious curry and mustard on that one. But thank you, Pearcey. So great to meet you. I do feel like I live on the other side of the world. I'm wearing a cardigan and you're wearing a T-shirt. That's unbelievable. And I haven't gone to get my hair cut because it's keeping me warm. It's this is welcome to Melbourne summer right now. It's amazing. I'll say good morning to Helen Pocock. Great to see you there, Helen.
There's a neighbour of mine 2 doors up that's selling. I'll put a bid in for you. I swear to God, just come on up.
Did you? You put a
34 Helen Street. 34 Helen Street. Go on. I'll put a bid in for you. You can move up. It's beautiful.
All right. I'll have a look. I will. I will. As soon as I'm off this recording, I will have a look at Helen Street in the Byron Shire.
There you go.
That'd be great.
That's it. I think I just told everyone where I live, but that's okay. So there is a lot going. There is a lot happening because Christmas is coming. As we record this, it's a couple of weeks to Christmas time. And let's not sugarcoat the elephant in the room. Many of our listeners and viewers are going to be having, for want of a better term, some awkward conversations with family members, friends, neighbours, acquaintances, random people that walk through the front door that they've never met yet because they're a new boyfriend, a new stepsister, a new seventh mother-in-law, a new stepmom that you meet for the first time. Oh, look, it happens.
Seventh mother-in-law.
Oh, you can...
Imagine that. You definitely don't know how to get things right if you've got 7 mother-in-laws. That's unbelievable.
Look, I'm getting old enough and ugly enough to know that this happens. So I'm telling you, this is important from my perspective. Not because I have this coming up at Christmas time. I'm very fortunate that I will know everyone around me at Christmas time. But I know that there are people watching and listening that are freaking out about this. So we thought, given that we are the social, are we Labradors? I always forget the animal metaphor. Are we Labradoodles?
Yeah,
Groodles?
I think we're a Labrador.
Labradors?
Yeah, we're double doodles.
Labrador.
Oh, that's topical. You know, the reason why I said that, double doodles. And you can take that any way you want. But, you know, I'm looking after a dog at the moment, and it's called a double doodle. So it's a Labradoodle and a Cavoodle.
No way. You can't tell me that's for real.
It's for real. It's for real. That's why I've got all these toys at the back here, right there, and then that's all dog stuff, and then all over there, this whole everything here is all dog stuff. Like everything, it's all dog stuff.
All right. All right. So we thought it would be a really good idea to help you and us, because there's always going to talk about the very important steps that you must make to enjoy your Christmas Day in a group environment, knowing that pretty much everyone can have guests over or outside or wherever it is. The steps you can take that will give you a far greater Christmas Day experience. Shall we do this?
Yeah, I can't wait to get your wisdom on this because there's no doubt about it. There'll be awkward conversations on Christmas Day, and we have them in our families. So I'm looking forward to it.
Every family has them. If anyone says they don't,
well,
you're the
ultimate communicator, PC. So I'd love to know how you navigate your way through this sort of stuff.
All right, here we go. I'm going to reveal my secrets.
Go on, tell me, share
it. First thing is decide or acknowledge if it is indoors or outdoors. If it is indoors, then and you know that you're going to be seated at certain times throughout the day, you have got to put a lot of effort into this. And when I say effort, and this is going to come across as massive control freakiness, but if you have red flag guests, you have to, for want of a better term, stick them in a corner. You have to stick them in a place where they can be still accepted and loved, and in the right, that their seating position is almost like the barometer of the day. If the wrong person, if that person, it's not wrong because they're not bad people, this is not the thing, but if that person is in the wrong position for your day, that can end up having a really big impact on your day. So you have to find out who is best to be next to that person. And often it's two people, because particularly if they're side by, if you've got people either side, and often it's the most patient family members or friends, or the people that actually, for want of a better term, and I'm not going to say this very well today, but they like them more than you do, or they get along better with them. I know, like Sarah's mum, for example, she'd get along with anyone. She's so graceful in her communication. She's a great listener. She asks questions. She's just really good at talking to strangers, so to speak. So the person in your family that's really good at that sits next to the most difficult guest. You don't put someone who I love. You don't put someone like my mum, who will just tell you how they feel straight away. They'll pull you up on any of your misgivings, on anything that is a weakness, or if you're the odd one out, they'll call you on it. It's just going to be awkward, and then it gets ugly, and then it gets, and then they say, I was only saying this. I was just being honest. You don't want that person, and everyone that knows me knows I love my mum. Mum, I love you, my mother, darling. Yes. But you don't want the person that's just going to say, I was just being honest. That's not.
Yes.
It's okay on any other day, but for some reason, Christmas
you don't need
Day,
honesty. No honesty conversations on Christmas. Not that you don't be honest, but you just don't. You need to filter some of the things. You need to think about what's coming out of your mouth. You can't speak before you think, and you can't think out loud.
Yes. And this is where, and this comes down to about step number 3, the allocation and quantity and choice of alcohol is really important. So let's just step ahead here for a moment. This is really important, particularly if you've got Irish or English or heavy drinking background in your family. If you've got an Eastern European vodka-loving family, it's really, sometimes important to conveniently forget to purchase that alcohol for the catering of your event.
Yes.
And sometimes it's better to seek forgiveness than permission, because what you do know in a really good way is that the bottle shops are closed. And you also want to be really overconfident that you've got this stocked in your house.
Are they
and
closed?
Then you have to be, I'd like to think, I could be wrong, because I know, I'd like to think grog shops are closed on Christmas Day. Maybe they're not.
I don't think they are, because pubs and stuff will be open.
A bit of a roaring trade.
Pubs will be open because people have Christmas
Oh,
dinners.
yeah,
Pubs,
good point.
Yeah.
So might have to simmer that point a bit. Maybe it's a bit harder to get out of as I'd like to suggest it is. But sometimes you don't want to over cater. Like, you don't have to buy too many slabs. You don't have to buy a dozen bottles of red when you only really need 3 to 6 bottles, because it's really on that second half dozen that the trouble strikes. And this is,
Or if you're going to buy them, particularly because you need them for Boxing Day or you're watching the Boxing Day test over the next 5 days, then just make sure they don't all come out.
yes,
Put them
yeah,
somewhere
there's got to
safe.
be there's got to be a convenient forgetfulness of where you put them. Where did I put that other half dozen bottles of wine? Oh, I can't find them. And then you just somehow remember the next day. So alcohol selection, like a part of me, because as you know, I'm the world's slowest eater and a relatively slow drinker. A part of me is okay with beer and wine because they're a bit more slowly consumed. Vodka and other spirits can get dangerous relatively quickly. But depending on how long you're entertaining for is a decision in actually how you cater your alcohol. We haven't even spoken about food yet, but alcohol is very important when you consider if you're only having, a couple of hours after lunch or a morning breakfast and the rest, then you'd like to think you're not going to get in too much trouble. But if you're having a lunch that could spill over to a dinner.
You haven't met my family. It's like people come with prees. Like they've had prees before they leave, prees in the car, like travellers, and then they arrive all ready to rock and roll. There's a couple of little
It's
drinks
only
on
8
the
o'clock in
side.
the morning.
Yeah, yeah. The aunties duck around the corner of the kitchen and have a little nip just to make sure that everything's going to be all right.
Dear. Oh, dear.
Family's funny.
So, family's funny. So I skipped part 2. So we skipped part 1 was the guests and the table settings, and you and I have spoken about this before, even like with like wellness summits and VIP dinners, and
Yeah.
I'd think of this business. I'd like to connect this business person with that business person because I think they could end up doing business together, and those two haven't met, but they'd get on really well, and all the rest of it. Same things with your table settings. So it might mean you need to actually print some place cards, and you've got to be strict on it. But then if you've got an outdoor setting, or you've got an outdoor event, and it's people just standing around, then you've got a lot less control, and maybe that's the way you want it. If you think I'm being a bit control freaky about it, then to completely have an outdoor event where it's just, but it's, where it's a standard mixture of seating and standing up. But these are all worthy of consideration. And number 2, I'd love your view on this, Damo, is I think with food, I really think you just can't go wrong if you serve family style on Christmas Day, because you just, you let people know all of the choices, like it's visually there.
Yeah.
And they don't have to tell you about their FODMAP this, or they've gone keto and I've gone gluten-free and I'm sugar-free and I'm on a vegan diet.
I'm doing my 4 phases.
All of the 4 phase, all of this, like, you just put all the food out and you go, come one, come all, come the vegans, come the carnivores, come the frugivores, come the pescatarians.
The breatharians.
Choose yourself. Breatharians. Make yourself at home. And you don't have to serve up with your tongs.
No.
And do you want this and how many potatoes? Like, you're not a buffet service. Just serve it up and let everyone please themselves.
There you go. That's how you do it. Well, I love that too, and I think it works. I agree. Like to be served up a meal on Christmas Day places a huge burden on the family members who have prepared it. Like that's it's tough enough to do Christmas for a lot of people, let alone be involved in meal distribution and service. Like that's tough. Yeah, make it easier. Make it easier. And
absolutely,
like, why wouldn't you wanna have like a family style meal prep on Christmas Day? It's so good, so good.
So number 4 is a little bit controversial. Does separate the boys from the men and the girls from the ladies, and does create with it an element of risk. And not sure if you've dabbled in this risk before, Damo, but I like to call step number 4 the walk. Now, after lunch, pretty much bet your bottom dollar that most people are smashed, like either
full,
not necessarily alcohol wise, but carb aside, they're just like, can't bring my belly up, but they're just cooked.
They're bloated.
Now,
they're bloated.
Yeah. So there's a few things that are very obvious here. The energy in the room just drops to just a fizzle. It's an absolute fizzle. The extroverts will do their best to keep the energy up. They're the wind turbines. They're just on overtime there. They're trying to engage in conversation. But even they're trying to have a couple more drinks to just stimulate the people that are just done like socially and nutritionally, they're gonna look for the couch. They're gonna look for a seat. They're gonna nod off even if they're wide awake because they're just really done and they can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
But I do think the walk is a really, really smart move here if you can pull it off, and that is to invite, and this is where it can get risky. You can invite the group for a walk, knowing full well that only a select few are going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be some kids.
It's kind of like a little mini escape.
siblings.
Like you go, okay.
Oh, it's not a mini escape. It's your escape plan. It is the escape.
I'm thinking,
it's the walk.
That's a nice thing. I'll take the kids. You guys, you can hang here. I'll take the kids.
Relax,
No problems. Take it easy.
Have a nap. Yeah.
Take it easy.
And
Geez, you're revealing a lot of your secrets here, PC. And
Yeah,
particularly
no,
Annie
that's what I said. I'm in
Kate,
a
she'll be
very
listening to
vulnerable
this. Annie Kate's going to be listening to this, and she'll be going, Marcus, I've seen you do that for the last decade. Didn't realise what you were doing. Annie Kate, you can't spill the beans.
Particularly if you are someone that is good with kids and you like being around the kids and you're happy to be with the kids,
Yeah.
pretty much guarantee that most of the adults at your Christmas function just want a little bit of kid-free time.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not in that place, for me as a parent, I actually love spending time with the kids most times of the day. So I find kid energy quite energizing. So I'm happy to go down to the park with the kids. I seem like a saint sometimes because I'm like, I'm going to go for the walk, and I'll take the kids down. Any adults that want to come along, which often isn't many. This is the thing. Most of the adults don't want to come.
Mm-hmm.
So what this does for you, particularly if you're the host or part of the host party, is bringing back to step number one. If you have any awkward guests in your party, this is their opportunity to go, I think my time here is done, because it really does create a break. You've kind of got the sleepers on the couch, you've got the people sitting at the table trying to stimulate a conversation, and then you've got the escape artists who have gone for the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your troubled guests, the guests that you think are going to be challenging, not always, but this is their time to go, all right, I'm done, we're going to finish up. And you come back from the walk and you can kind of see if there's any collateral damage or if you need to go into any form of step 5. Do you want to know what step 5 is?
Yeah, please tell me.
All right, so step 5 is what I like to call damage control.
Yeah.
I don't know if you relate to this, but step 5 is where you begin to, and I don't really have a lot of experience in this. It's not something I do well, but it's probably obvious if I do it. It's where you go in a hyper cleanup mode. So you don't actually tell people that the day is done, but your behavior becomes somewhat antisocial. You really go into that mode where you're almost behaving as if no one's there. You're cleaning up. You're in the kitchen. You're pulling the table down.
That's the subtle time. It's some people, like I often do clean up because I like to have a nice clean space. So like I'm happy to clean up and have people just kind of hang out together. I don't use that cleaning up time as a signal to leave. Like that's not my thing. But I really like to have a clean space. So I will serve lunch and everyone has their their bits, and as they're finishing, I'll be collecting their plates, taking it off, and then go and do that, and I'm happy to be in the kitchen, stack the dishwasher, all that sort of stuff. But that's not the signal that I'm using to get you out of there.
No. This is very. I'm so glad you raised this, Damien, because my mum, if she was listening, but she's one of those wonderful people that doesn't listen. Love you, mum. She is a host of the highest regard, just like you would be as well. And for mum, her happy place post meal is exactly your happy place post meal. So I need to clarify my comments here, because when I say damage control, I'm talking about that type of cleanup where you purposefully make it dramatic. So it's almost like you just make it uncomfortable for people to be around. Yeah. You actually almost smash a glass that's 10 years old and you crack it. You get angry. You might drop an F-bomb. Look, you might even just do a little organizing principle with your 12-year-old child to go, look, I'm going to get angry at you. I'm not angry at you. I'm just going to get angry at you just out of nowhere, where you just bring up that cue where people go, I think it might be a good time for us to leave. So this is what I call damage control. You're not doing it overtly, but you're doing it on a relatively obviously subtle level, if that's such a word. And you make it you make it their decision to leave rather than going, everybody out, the day is done. And again, I don't have a lot of experience in this, but I know there's been times where I've had to kind of half bake this, and it works quite well. I say. I think I know with kids, if they start losing it, I make it pretty clear that the guest doesn't want to be around to see how this is going to end because when your kids start having meltdowns and falling, or they fight like completely inappropriately, it's like our social time here is over. So.
Yes.
I think at Christmas this can be one of those times where you almost premeditate it, and I just thought it was important for people to know that even if you think that this doesn't happen, I don't make all of these comments lightly. I also make them somewhat flippantly, but I think this happens a lot, somewhat unconsciously on Christmas Day and other days where the hosts are thinking about ways to create an experience and keep everyone happy and make sure that the person they don't see very often or maybe a new guest that they don't quite click with is looked after without there being, as you like to call it, I think persnickety comments or like passive aggressive. Like you don't want that on Christmas Day.
No.
As you said, this is not the day to have these underhanded, under the table, cheap shots. It's actually meant to be an incredibly fulfilling and happy experience. And if you can go into it consciously, and we have been a bit tongue in cheek on some of these things, but just if you're amongst all of this, observe the behavior of the host and empathize and care for them. And if you also know those guests that are the one that is kind of being, put in the corner, see if you can be that empathizing conversationalist and give them the best day possible, because particularly if they're uncomfortable about it, do your best to give them a happy Christmas Day as well.
Oh, I like it. I love your plans. I also really like Helen Pocock's plans. So in one breath, she said, this is when you bring out the vodka. And in the next breath, she says, turn off the lights. And so I'm wondering what you get up to, Helen, on your Christmas days. But
she works. She's in hospitality. So she said, or you can just work like I will be. And then you don't have to worry about anything.
Yes,
you're in hospitality.
Right. Exactly. No, but I hear what you're saying. Helen, I get it, and I like your style of thinking. PC, I'm impressed by the level of detail that you've gone to with this one. But that does actually, I am impressed, but I'm not surprised because you are detail oriented, and you're the greatest planner organizer of all time. So, some of the things that I never ever thought of around a wellness summit dinner, you had thought of like well in advance, and so you've basically averted all crises. So. If you have a crisis on Christmas generally, you need to play this back and listen to Marcus's wisdom, because it's wise to listen to Marcus when it comes to organisation, because in every single case of the Wellness Summit and every single breakthrough experience and every single Icarian experience and every single experience that I've ever had with Marcus, even doing Power Foods and Inverloch and Wonthaggi, everything has always gone to plan because Marcus sees everything that's potentially going to happen. He is like the oracle of this stuff. So he might have called me Saint Nick. That's because I won't push back. But Piercy has already preempted it. He's on the front foot before the bounce has been balled. So it's he's there. So be there. Listen to Piercy.
Considering we're recording this 2 weeks to Christmas, I promise you I hadn't given that any thought until we hit record. But it's a little bit scary how effortlessly that conversation took place, wasn't it?
That is.
That
is. Well, good on you, Piercy. Good thinking.
Well, good to chat this over with you, Damo. On the next episode of 100 Not Out, Damo is going to reveal his favorite Christmas menu, his recipes, his win-wins, the stuff that you can prepare on Christmas Day that will get everyone like getting down on bended knee or two knees and worshipping you like the Christmas god. That is episode 404 of 100 Not Out coming up. For more info on Damo, head on over to damiankristof.com, myself, marcuspierce.com.au. Thank you to Joseph Tomo, our editor, Cielo, who does all our social media, and Council, who looks after the Instagram account at 100.notout. We're on Facebook at 100 Not Out, all one word. You can join us on Facebook Live most Wednesdays, sometimes a Thursday, sometimes an odd day, depending on our schedules. But we're always doing this on Facebook Live. We love it. Thank you for your support of the podcast. And until next week, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now. It's very cheesy. I love the cheese. I love the
Oh, we
cheese.
got to have a bit of cheese.
I love it.
Oh.
Helen, you will love the cheese, I reckon. So would Desley. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Ah, yes. All right. Helen says, well planned. Thank you, Helen. There's no planning at all involved in any of that, but thank you. Speaking of which, we're going to record a second episode. Still cool with that demo? It is 12:01.
Absolutely.
We're done by 12:24 at the latest.
Great.
So let's smash this out. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you for episode 404 of 100 Not Out, potentially our most important episode of the month because it's all about the food that you serve on Christmas Day and maybe even over the festive season. I am having very little to do with the conversation. I'm going to ask all the questions of my brother from another mother. He is the master chef of all things Christmas. He is Dr. Damien Christoph. Hello, legend.
Hello, legend. It's unbelievable. Seriously, if you've been watching this on Facebook, you know we have gone from episode 403 to 404 in just seconds. And you have to marvel at the brilliance of the great man, Marcus Pearce, and how he can string together these sentences, and it just all is off his head. Like, it's unbelievable. So, incredible. Thanks for sticking around and joining us on another episode of 100 Not Out. Pearcey, we are closing in on Christmas, and at the time of this recording, we'll only be a couple of days away from Christmas, I think. So,
yeah, this will come out on the 22nd of December. So if people are listening to this and they haven't got their menu organised, this could actually
save you.
What does that do? Bring all your Christmases at once? Give you all your Christmases at once? What's that one-liner?
That's it. This could be the episode that makes all your Christmases come at once.
Because let's be honest, statistically speaking, and on a level of human nature,
yes,
there would be a lot of people that are hosting Christmas Day that are actually yet to formalise their menu and do not have their ingredients yet. And I would say that the younger the host, this could be controversial, the younger the host, the more likely that is to be. I know my mum would have her menu sorted 2 to 3 weeks in advance and she'd definitely have the ingredients. But the 25 or 30-year-old host, maybe not. What do you reckon? Is that ageist?
Say that again.
Am I being ageist?
Well, maybe, because I think that some people do, because like Amber has always been that way. Like, she's always, hosted, and so do I, but also been prepared. So Amber's great at this. Amber's really good at this, but she gives me some tasks, and I'm good at operation. I'm good. I'm great. I'm great at vision. I'm not good at strategy, but I'm great at operation. No problems. When it comes to Christmas. Does that work? When it comes to Christmas.
I always wonder about you. I was saying to someone the other day that I attract into my friendship and mentor circle people that aren't detail oriented, that are visionaries, that are really good on a strategic, big thinking level.
Yeah.
And I think I just fill the gaps on the details. That's just the nature, the two sides of life. But then I go, but Damo, he's learned all that stuff about food and the body. He knows minerals and he knows vitamins and he knows synovial fluid and he knows TFL and he knows T1 and C7 and the sacrum. I'm like, how does he know all this stuff? It's all so detailed. But clearly we all have areas of our lives that are detailed and visionary. Anyway, off topic, completely back to this topic.
Yeah.
So on Christmas Day, what's your role and what's your menu? Because for people that are watching or listening, they're going to want to know really what your menu is and how you bring it all together.
Okay, so my Christmas Day is always ridiculously busy, always. So we've got Jackson's mum and stepdad that we catch up with. Then we'll have either my family for lunch or Amber's family for lunch, and that'll involve picking up somebody on the other side of Melbourne that's got to come to another location. And then when we finish that, we've got to drive to Red Hill generally, or we've got to drive from Red Hill back to Melbourne, and then drop off somebody along the way. And so everything's got to be down. Like, it's got to be so prepared. So I am in charge of brekkie. Definitely, always.
All right, this
And
is
so
good.
I will
And you
make
don't have a cereal company anymore.
Christmas bircher. Always make a Christmas bircher. And it's a ripper. It's always a ripper. It's always been a ripper. And so up until last Christmas, including last Christmas, it's always consisted of forage bircher. Now, Marcus is the only person in the world who still has forage bircher left. And
I
so
just want to add
Marcus,
on this.
yes, you go.
Yeah. I just realised as you said this, because I do want to ask you what brand of birch you're going to use this year. But I told the kids the other day, kids, we've really only got enough bircher left for one more breakfast. One more breakfast. And and it's a bit of a sore point because poor Darby, he doesn't really understand it. He's like, but can we just get some more from Damo? I'm like, oh, sorry, mate, but we can't. It's a really tough thing at the moment. So as you say this, I think I'm going to tell the kids we're going to save the bircher for Christmas Day. And whatever you tell us right now as to how you make it, I am going to copy and replicate your Christmas bircher and make it for our 4 children on Christmas Day. So I'm all ears.
All right. So the birches, it's really important that this is done well because birches are delicious, right? So I will, in this case, I think I'm going to make an oat-based bircher because I don't actually have anybody who's gluten-free anymore in my little family. So I'll make an oat-based bircher. And so I'll have, oats, we'll put some honey in it. We'll have probably some chia seeds in that as well. It's highly likely that I'll probably put some other seeds like maybe even some poppy seeds in there because that's just, brings out extra flavour. There'll be sunflower seeds, pepitas, almonds, like slivered almonds, no doubt about it. We'll put some macadamia pieces in there, absolutely, some cranberries. And so all of that will go into this mix. I'll probably use orange juice and I think I'm going to use yogurt this year, and it will be just a dairy-based yogurt. I'm not going to use a coconut-based yogurt. I've used that in the past. But because I'm going to use oats, it'll be nicer and creamier if I use that yogurt. And then I'll top it up with milk, and I'll probably use oat milk. I won't be using dairy milk for it because I'll get the creaminess from the yogurt. So that's what I'm going to be doing. That flavour will be unbelievable. I'll make that up probably 2 days beforehand, because that'll be really soft and the flavour will have run through it. If you make it up the day before or the morning of, it won't be as soft and creamy and sticky like you would get it, and so you want to leave it for about a day and everything starts to break down. So that's how I'm going to make that one up. Now, if you wanted to make it gluten-free and not use the oats, then you'd use rice, like rolled rice. That's a really nice thing to do. You can buy rolled rice just from your health food store. That's pretty simple. And of course, you could sub in or sub out anything that you can't eat or can't have because of an allergy or something you don't want to eat, right? So you can sub it in. So you might bring in coconut yogurt instead of a dairy-based yogurt, or you might use cow's milk instead of oat milk, depending on what you wanted to do with your yogurt. Now, what's interesting, or with your bircher. So what's interesting about this is that the pre-mixing of all of this stuff actually prepares it for digestion. It's actually even better and easier for your body to digest it if it's been soaking for longer. And that's what is trendy these days, called activating. It's just, all it is just soaking it up. You're activating it. Yeah, that's what's happening.
I love it. So a couple of questions, because I know a couple of people will want to know this. In terms of quantities, is it just don't worry about the quantities, like just do it all to taste? Like when you say you're just going to pop in some chia seeds, literally pop in some poppy seeds, you can't really get this wrong, folks. Like you're never really going to say too many macadamias, too many cranberries. You'll get a visual. It's an individual choice as to how much you want. Just the one thing, because it's going to be my Christmas surprise, because for our kids, we soak it in an almond milk and top it up with Koyo. Mm-hmm. On top of forage bircher, but Christmas surprise, I'm going to sneak in some orange juice, some OJ, and they're going to go, oh, it tastes different.
You can use apple juice too. You can use apple juice.
Apple juice. Oh, you've done apple juice at wellness summits, and it's delicious.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
So
and it makes it really delicious. But the other thing, and here's the kicker: this is how you make it very Christmassy. is you use a lemon curd. So you put lemon curd on the top, and I always make my lemon curd with the Thermomix. So I use the Thermomix lemon curd recipe. You find it on Google. It's very easy to find, and you just make it up according to the instructions in there. And then you serve a little bit of lemon curd on top of that, and then I'll put on some honeycomb. Like I'll crumble some honeycomb on there, and that is a Christmas mouthgasm. It's unbelievable. It's the
This
best.
is so good.
Yeah.
And if so, because I know we've got honeycomb in the freezer right now. So we've got the honeycomb, lemon curd in the thermo, a bit of OJ. My kids are going to go mental. This is going to be more exciting than their presents. The kids have a little mantra of best day ever when they have this really peak experience. They start singing this song like all on cue. And this is gonna be a best day ever cue. This is gonna rock their world. And anyone listening, if this isn't rocking your world right now, if you don't see this as the ideal way to nutritionally start your Christmas day, then you're listening to the wrong podcast, because this is the bee's knees. This is what the master chef of Christmas is preparing on Christmas Day. So oats or a gluten-free substitute of your choice: honey, chia seeds, poppy seeds, sunflowers, pepitas, slithered almonds, macadamias, cranberries, a bit of OJ or apple juice, yogurt, choose your type, dairy or Koyo, bit of milk, your choice. Damo's going oat. We'll go homemade almond. You can go fat-free, light, soy, camel, maca, dairy, whatever you want. Thermoed lemon curd, honeycomb.
Yep.
If you really can't be bothered, just crack open a violet crumble and stick a couple of bits
even
on
better
top,
for Christmas. Like, why wouldn't you do something like that? Yep, great.
Or a crunchy.
Crunchy. I think I probably prefer a crunchy than a violet crumble.
Yeah, I think crunchy is definitely all the way.
So that's what we're going to start with. That's what we're going to start with. So then, like, the other thing you could also start with is some beautiful fresh croissants with some ham and cheese. But they're better on Boxing Day because you use the leftover ham from Christmas lunch. So
now you're talking.
That's always amazing, and I use a bit of Jarlsberg cheese with that, and it's happy days. So I absolutely love that. So for lunch, you know, it's not really what I would be going to organise. However, you can't ever go past a ham or a turkey or a lamb. I'm not going to have a vegan Christmas, I can tell you that right now. It's just not going to happen.
Mate, I can't tempt you in a little chickpea curry or some lentil bolognese over the bit of bacon, tofurkey, mate. Tofurkey. You won't notice the difference. Bacon. It's just like the real thing.
Did I tell you that the other day I went to a cafe? I went to a little cafe that I've been going to for a long time. And during COVID, they went plant-based. I didn't know. And so I went in there. I said, I love one of your chicken pittas. And he said, don't do chicken. I said, what do you mean you don't do chicken? And he said, we don't do chicken anymore. And I could have sworn he said, I've got lamb. And I said, I'll have one of those then. So he brought me out this shawarma, lamb shawarma, and I chowed it down, absolutely like mowed it down. And then I was talking to a mate the other day, and I said, oh, have you tried, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, have you tried such and such as lamb shawarma? And he goes, nah, it won't be lamb, he's plant-based. I go, nah, he said that this is lamb. He goes, nah, he definitely wouldn't have said that, it's plant-based. You know what? He told me it was lamb, and he put in that, what did you call it? Tofurkey. Well,
Tofurkey.
This would be tofam, and it was delicious, but I feel violated. Like I feel like I've committed a sin. I feel like I've been tricked because I wanted lamb and I've been fed tofu, a vegan version of lamb. Don't try and make it taste like the real thing. Just eat the plants. So now I've eaten dirty vegan food as opposed to having a clean vegan meal. Like if I wanted to eat a vegan meal, I'd eat a vegan meal. But I don't want to have a dirty vegan meal because you want to taste lamb, but you only want to have it as turkey or lamb, or tofu. So yeah.
And this is a point, and for some people it's a sore point because some people, we do have some listeners who are wonderful, wonderful vegans, and they do it well and they do it right.
Yes.
And let's just say, here's what we're saying: if you are vegan, and tell me if you disagree, Damo. If you are vegan, our view is that you do not want to have meat.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have bacon or tofurkey or it's not lamb or whatever it's called.
Yes.
You would have chickpeas and lentils and apples and fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and beans and some grains and all the rest of it. The thing that confuses us, and I say this as an ex-vegan, is the desire to still have meat.
Yeah.
Because for me, it still doesn't click. And anyway, that's a point for another day. So yes, no vegan lunches on Christmas Day with the Christophs. So back to the Christmas menu for lunch, because it's not a lamb shawarma.
Nah.
Still don't know what a shawarma is, but I don't want to ask for the sake of this podcast episode going way off topic. So
totally.
what is on the menu
Sorry
for
about
lunch?
that. I did that. It's my fault. So
No.
obviously heaps of salads, heaps of veggies. I think that's the key thing. But the other thing that I'd like to just almost give permission for is for people to enjoy each other's company. Now, obviously, if you listen to last week's episode, which we just recorded before, you will know all of the hacks about having good conversations at Christmas. And the countries that have the people that live the longest will sit down and have a great Christmas lunch, and they won't be counting calories, and they won't be saying, "Oh, I better not have that last potato because it's going to affect me." They will have food and dance and laugh and sing and have watered down wine and all kinds of stuff, so that they can party on into the night. That is what Christmas is about. It's about people coming together and eating and sharing and hanging out together, as opposed to being too strict. So I'm going to give you permission to just, go a little bit mental with the food, not necessarily with the alcohol.
I love this because I think even 3 or 4 years ago, if our listeners were listening to this episode, they'd be like, what are you guys talking about? You're like clean eating, whole food, organic, homegrown, all the rest of it. And we're still saying yes, absolutely. But I think there's a good mutual friend of ours, Olivia Gleason. I saw her post this once, and she may have got it from someone else. You probably got it from someone else. It's not what you eat between Christmas and New Year that is the problem. It's what you eat between New Year's and Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I think Christmas Day and that period of time is not the time to go hoity-toity on what you like to eat most days. I mean, take it from Damo. He's making gluten-infested croissants with dairy-infested Charlesberg cheese with smoked ham.
Yeah.
And we're all salivating over it, going, "Oh, delicious! Let me at it." Yeah. But what we can also say is Damo doesn't have that every single day of the week. Like, look, he's a picture of absolute health. So the only people that get away with that is the French, and that's a conversation for another day. But on Boxing Day, dig in and enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the radio this morning, Piercy, and they said, what do you do after you've had a big meal, on Christmas Day? What are you supposed to do? How do you recover from that? What's it doing to your body? And I said, well, let's put this into perspective. And I just shared that same perspective that I just shared with you just then and all of our listeners, really giving yourself permission, taking it easy, having a day off. You don't have to be a robot. Being humans, we have a human experience. If you've got food sensitivities or dietary requirements and all those sorts of things that you've got to stick to for medical reasons, fair enough. But if it's about a lifestyle that you're trying to achieve or trying to attain, but you feel the pressure of it through the whole of the year, it's okay to have a little bit of time off. Even if you're dieting, give yourself a break. In fact, we did an interview only a couple of weeks ago about taking a break from dieting. And what was it? Interval dieting or intermittent dieting?
Interval weight loss. Interval weight loss.
That's right,
with Dr. Nick Fuller.
How good was that? Nick was great.
That was episode 401.
That was actually, I think, one of our more popular episodes. People absolutely love that episode. So go back and have a listen to that one.
Yep, 100%. Final words on dessert on Christmas Day before we wrap it up?
It's got to be lemon tart. There's no doubt about it. If you don't get lemon tart on Christmas Day, then you can settle for the old plum pudding. No problems. And make sure with your plum pudding you put the brandy on it and light it and have your custard with it too. These are all the traditions that we are so lucky.
Coins in there as well. Coins.
Eat the coins.
Coins in the pudding. Yeah, you put the coins in there. Do you do the coins?
Yeah, we've always had a coin or two in there. There's obviously coming out of COVID, there'll be some people that are really scared of germs again, and so you might want to sterilize your coins. So I'm not scared of germs. However, in saying that, I have seen where some coins land and what some people have done with coins. So I might just wash them a bit before we put them in the cake.
Really random story, and God love them, friends of mine at the market.
Yeah.
At the height of Corona, to really do a community service, they thought it best to sterilise their money, even the notes, and they made the mistake of not doing it properly and melted $1,000 of notes.
No.
In an attempt to sterilise, the money for the community. So I think you're right, Damo. There are people that are a little bit worried about where certain things have come from these days, and
Yes.
I
know.
Maybe
hey,
that
we
one
are
might get
going to
lost.
have an epidemic of allergies. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm watching even little kids. They get back from school and they just run to the disinfectant, antiseptic, little squirty tub things that smell like poison. And they're putting that all over them. We are going to have an epidemic of allergies. So let's talk about that one day.
Well, yeah, we can do that on the next episode because it's all about the trends for 2021. And so I'm often wondering, what is hand sanitizer syndrome going to be called? There's going to be something where people's hands begin to just peel off. And they're like, what's happening to my hands?
I'm
And
melting.
the medical community is going to have to come up with a name for it
Yeah.
because when they do, this is going to sound so jaded, they're going to have to come up with a treatment for it that they can sell as a result of not telling you just to stop with all of the sanitizing. There'll be a sanitize and then take this treatment, and then of course there'll be a side effect for that, so then you'll take another thing and away we go. And that's really how, it's not a bad thing, but this is how capitalism works, folks. You cannot stop the beast because that's, again, it's not a bad thing. That is, you cannot make a socialist community out of a capitalist world. It's just not the way it works. Anyway, going off on a major tangent to end this episode.
Jaded much. There's no wonder you're living in Byron Bay. Pete's got it right. Pete's got it right. Koyo, MP must be becoming a hippie up there around Byron Bay. No doubt about it. Good work.
No, Koyo have done such a good job with branding. It's a bit like Apple and iPhones. You just call all phones an iPhone instead of just a mobile phone or a smartphone. Yes. Anyway, all yogurt's Koyo these days. Anyway, Damo, I know what I'm making for Christmas breakfast. I'm going to add in a bit of chocolate in dessert because, as you know, there has to be some chocolate in this overly fruity Christmas tradition that the world has taken on all day. Thanks again for your Boxing Day, ham and Jarlsberg cheese with croissants and all of your other wisdom on this episode. For more folks, who's hungry right now? All of us. Head on over to DamienChristoff.com. I have taken notes of this Bircher. I'm going to pop them in the show notes. Please don't ask for quantities because that's not how Damo or myself roll. It's just please yourself, shove it all in together and see what happens. Do it all 2 days prior to Christmas so it can activate. Now, for myself, head on over to marcuspearce.com.au. Thank you to Joseph Tomo. All year he's been editing. We thank you, Joseph. Cielo, you've been incredible. To all of our listeners, the 100 Not Outers, have an incredible Christmas. We love you so much. There is no podcast without you. We'd be talking to ourselves, which we'd still be doing, but we probably wouldn't be hitting record and publishing it. So thank you.
We might still be pushing record and publishing it, but it's much better knowing that at least my mum listens and Pete and Helen. Thank you.
I never tell you this, but I do have a sneaky look when Joseph sends me the download stats for the Wellness Couch. 100 Not Out, almost approaching 700,000 lifetime downloads. So it's
how good is that? 700,000.
It's good,
mate. We might get a call up from Spotify. We might get like a $23 million Spotify purchase.
Well, as I like to tell people that often go, how do downloads work? If you lived in a country 20 times bigger than you'd have downloads 20 times your size. So, for you, Damo, if we were British and we spoke like this and we were in the English iTunes store, we'd be sitting on about 20 million downloads right now, which wouldn't be too bad, would it?
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good,
All right,
PC.
folks. Merry Christmas to you all. Have a happy and healthy one. Until next week, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now.